just left the State of the Union address, and the president pointed out some very noble things. We all want people to do better. We want more people to work. We want to use more of our own energy. All of those things we agree on. It's just that his track record for the last 5 years belies what he's saying. He wanted more energy use, and yet his energy department, his interior department, has virtually brought to almost a standstill the applications for drilling on public lands. So it's the private sector that's been able to do all of this. He wants people to have higher jobs. In fact, he says he's going to sign an executive order that requires a $10 minimum wage to federal contractors. And it turns out that actually will not affect or help anyone, because they're already paying more than $10 an hour for federal contractors' minimum wage. So there was a lot of lovely things in the speech tonight. I love the tributes to the military, but now we're leaving Afghanistan, and the Taliban is poised to take over, just like Iran, Al-Qaeda, and others are taking over Iraq since we've left there. So it was a lovely speech, a lot of nice things said, noble goals, but he's completely gone about the wrong way to achieve most of those. Would you say, Sean?
I would say 100%. By the way, I'm very honored to be Congressman Gohmert's guest at this, my first and only State of the Union. You know, you said some things about energy, and you couldn't be more right. Leases on private lands are down 50%. If you talk about the president, there was a long laundry list, but what's he actually going to accomplish? One of the reasons that they're talking about the economy so much is 5 years of his economic policies have not created jobs. We have 50 million people on food stamps, literally the lowest labor participation rate in 30 years, and so there's real challenges. And I think I wish we would have had an opportunity to see the president pivot and maybe open up drilling, open up gas exploration and production. Well, he said the right things. You got to actually do those things to make it happen.
And in East Texas, we love it when you talk about the potential for this economy if we will just let the economy run. I mean, we're standing in the way of it. Now, in East Texas, we produce more natural gas than any other of the 36 congressional districts in Texas. We're still producing oil, we're still drilling. You know, they get it there.
The unemployment rate in Midland's 3%, in North Dakota it's 2.6%, but all of that is on private lands.
Yeah.
It's not happening. And we have more gas, more shale, more coal, more energy than the entire Middle East combined, and we could create jobs and wealth and help pay down our debt, pay Social Security off, and guarantee it for future generations. To me, that is the single greatest answer we have, and I know you're pushing hard for it, so thank you. And by the way, thank you. Well, can you explain the tie for your constituents back home? This is, you might want to hone in on the tie here.
I was looking for a tie this morning, and I like the red.
Is that Santa Claus?
It is Santa Claus, and I thought, well, I can't wear that. That's Santa Claus. And then I realized we're going to be listening to Santa Claus tonight, promising whatever anybody wants they can have. The trouble, and this is what breaks my heart, is he's got the children paying for the gifts to the parents, and that's not right.
That's the number one moral issue of our time, and that is $17 trillion in debt. We're robbing from our kids and our grandkids.
It's immoral.
And I think it's immoral, and it can be stopped. And that's why you're here.
Well,
And we're counting on you to get the job done all by yourself.
well, America's waking up, and it is really encouraging to
Well,
see
the polls
that.
show that in a
They
big
do.
way.
They do. So anyway, there are great days ahead, but we've got to get the government out of the way so America can see the economy go. And I used the expression 3 or 4 years ago that it's time for an economic renaissance. It's ready. And so in the last election, I was thrilled when I started hearing people say, we could have an economic renaissance. And the truth is, we could, just the way you talked about earlier.
Two things I love. You support the penny plan. Very simple. Folks in your district would understand if they have budgetary problems, you cut 1 penny out of every single dollar government spends. You expand energy production. You open up those public fields for drilling and shale production, and we'd have an economic boom that we've never had in the country before. And it will last 40, 50 years, according to a lot of the experts.
And of course, he talked about gun violence. Well, you talked about this. I talked about it. You know, the places where there is the most gun violence are the places where guns are most restricted. And it's tragic. I mean, we know in Texas that the concealed carry law was pushed by a woman who had to leave her gun in her glove compartment, go into Louie's with her parents, and a gunman comes out. She could have shot him if she'd been able to keep her gun. That's where our concealed carry started from.
Yeah.
And of course, you're one of the, I can't believe there's more than a handful of people that have a carry
in New
permit.
York, but I'm only allowed 7 bullets legally in my gun in New York. The governor often, I quote him as saying, you don't need 10 bullets to kill a deer, that's how he says it in New York. And I didn't see many deer in New York City.
Well, I had a guy up here from Georgia, Louie was, said, you can't let them restrict how many bullets we put in our magazines because it generally takes us about 50 rounds to bring down a drone. So, anyway, it's an honor to serve East Texas. It's an honor to be here on East Texas' behalf. I think there are better days ahead, but it's going to be in spite of the government and not because of it.